Hello, welcome back to Latte Hour. I hope y'all are doing well. Just a reminder, Latte Hours are only a maximum 15 minutes because that's what YouTube allows for this channel in particular. But it's designed to cover thought-provoking topics, and with the remaining portion of the hour, you can sip your latte and do more research. So let's jump right in as usual. Today the topic is sickle cell disease and sodium metabisulfite. So a lot of you may know that I am a huge advocate for eating plant-based diets and such, and not really shopping in the processed food section of the stores. And so as I was on YouTube some years ago, I came across a video explaining how Jamaicans largely have a plant-based diet. And in this video, there was a gentleman that stated that folks in Jamaica that have sickle cell live pretty well because they don't eat a lot of processed foods that contain sodium metabisulfite. And that statement there sent me down the rabbit hole on what is sodium metabisulfite. And so first let's start with how some sickle cell disease is diagnosed. So there is a laboratory test that uses sodium metabisulfite to test if the blood cells will sickle in a blood sample. So basically, the sodium metabisulfite is made into a solution. The person's blood is poured on a slide along with the sodium metabisulfite solution, and that is sealed in on the slide and then incubated. After incubation, that slide goes underneath a microscope, and if sickled cells are observed, then the person can be diagnosed with sickle cell disease. So the fact that sodium metabisulfite causes cells to sickle in the laboratory testing, I think for me, is our number one clue. Disclaimer, this video is not medical advice. Please seek out the appropriate medical personnel. This is only my opinion and my theories. Okay, so what is sodium metabisulfite? It is largely used as a preservative in the food industry. And it sometimes is called sodium metabisulfite, and there are other derivatives, but largely sodium metabisulfite, which is also called E223. Now, a lot of times you're probably not going to see this on the ingredients list because the regulatory bodies that be have stated that if the concentration of the sodium metabisulfite or sulfites are under 10 parts per million, then it does not need to be declared as being used as a preservative in that food product. And so I think this is where stuff gets tricky for folks that are looking to avoid it. And I'm starting to think it might have been on purpose. Anyways, so moving on. Sodium metabisulfites and other sulfites are typically found in some of your canned goods, especially your canned veggies and canned fruits. It can also be found in meats and other processed foods. Another food product that it's largely in are processed potatoes, dried fruits, and then wine and beer. A lot of you may have seen the warning on wine and beer. I know I've seen the warning on wine of the sulfites and the nitrates. I believe that's on the meat, but the sulfites and the sulfates in the wine. And so they can just simply declare it as, this food has sulfates. It won't tell you that it's specifically sodium metabisulfite. And so it's really sneaky how things are labeled, so you got to really watch out. And so to me, it would seem that people with sickle cell disease would just be better off eating a plant-based whole foods diet, and that would largely be helpful in helping them to avoid coming across sodium metabisulfite. Yeah, so that's what it is. And so we know that a lot of folks in the US do have sickle cell. You probably know somebody, especially if you're African American, because it's more predominant in that community. And so if you know someone, let them know kind of to do their own research about sodium metabisulfite, and just kind of make them aware, or not, depending on your relationship with that person. But yeah, that's what I wanted to go over today, to kind of get you all thinking. What are some ways that we could help sickle cell patients, starting with what's going on the inside, but also just helping everyone avoid some of these things that could be harmful that are in our food supply. So yeah, if you have any ideas or any comments, let me know in the section comments below. And I believe that is it. So thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.